hold tight.
Hold on to your hats, boys.
Libos.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week.
A little bit older than you.
I'm not touching this topic. I'm not touching it.
Yeah. I think we can go there and get a positive result.
I want to go.
If we play a night game, he has to turn the bloodlines on.
No one would have believed that he would keep his job for as long as he had.
The Wednesday Week.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week. My apologies, but I believe we should have been on Twitter as well, but for some reason that's all fallen to bobbins and pissed early doors. On the back of a 4-0 win at home at S6, Sheffield Wednesday have gone straight to the top of the league against Wayne Rooney's Plymouth Argyle, copyright involved, after absolutely smashing them to bobbins. How's everybody going? Ash, you all right, pal? Are you working, beavering away in the background?
Yeah, man. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's because they're reviewing our account, isn't it? Because we changed his logo.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's what it is, mate. So yeah, we can't go live on X tonight.
Can you edit that so we can go live on another platform?
Ooh,
I'll leave you with it.
Yeah.
Stevie, how was your weekend? Are you all right? How Saturday football coming in? Did you watch some bits and then think, well, that's what we're after. That's what we need to beat. It's like batting second at cricket, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it was 100% now. You gotta scope out the opposition before we get going, haven't we? So it was nice. Genuinely speaking, it was nice to have football back, wasn't it? Proper football. So spent a bit of time watching a few games. Watched bits of United on Friday night, I will admit, and then spent Saturday just catching up on as much as I can in between, doing little bits with the kids because they're still off and about, and trying to make the most of the summer. But yeah, it's been a good weekend.
I didn't get to watch much of it because I was working on Saturday, but there was some big results there, Chaz. I think anybody who tried to have a bet on Saturday probably fell foul. And I'll tell you about my betting endeavours after this. But how was your weekend? All right?
Yeah, not too bad. I think given the last man standing, I was like, hooray, Wednesday have won and I have lost money. But obviously, I'm such a generous person that I would much rather Sheffield Wednesday won than women's money. That's fine. But yeah, there's a couple of twists, really, all things considered. Leeds drawing really is quite a twist.
Yeah, and I think Coventry didn't win, did they?
Lost to Stoke 1-0.
Yeah.
What the sweet Mary Jesus, it's costing me money. And I've just noticed, Ash, you managed to pull it off while we were, as I mentioned last week, Ash is usually beavering away in the background. And while we were just speaking then, as we were treading water, as you may or may have not noticed, Ash has managed to put it on another platform of Twitch. So, we're so showbiz.
I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what it is.
Right. I think it's where nerds
play. It's when you do that.
Yeah. So, Somebody we used to call it a green grass at our school. If somebody
What, from Heartbeat?
Yeah, from Heartbeat. There's always that kid that used to blink. There was always one, weren't there? Anyway, let's get into well, I tell you what, Ash, have we got any comments? I noticed there's a few swimming in. I'll come to the babe in the booth.
Ford WRC has gone with we are top of the league, so we are top of the league, which I'm really happy about. That's not too bad. Mike's joining us from God knows where, but good evening all. It's 3 a.m. for me, and I stayed up for this podcast. Absolutely buzzing after that route yesterday. Oh, thank you very much, Mike. Thank you very much.
You do find that, though, don't you, Ash? Like when Wednesday have done really well, you try and consume as much Sheffield Wednesday media as possible, and there's a poor geezer now at 3 a.m. going, must have more Wendy, need more Wendy.
Slappy Gilmore's been on Happy New Season, folks. It's a great start, isn't it? So yeah, all good. Yeah, very positive.
Can I just jump in there and just give props to whoever on this podcast or whatever it is that has created these fantastic and sexy new graphics that we're looking at this evening. If you're watching on YouTube, we have leveled up here, haven't we? The opening credits blew my mind, but my goodness, we put another 50p in the meter, haven't we?
I was saving the new intro for you there because that clip of Holly saying we want some goals and hold on to your hats, boys, has made me laugh solid now for about 3 or 4 weeks. She's an absolute hot clip. gem, isn't she? She's like a rich vein of just mouth, just
Soundbite
ridiculous
machine.
things. Soundbite. That's the word I was looking for. Thanks, Charlie, for getting me out of that hole. Right then, let us talk about some football. I've got a tea towel here, so that's why you can hear wafting around. I'm sweaty. I'm sweaty. What we've realised is that we're all in our spare rooms as well tonight, folks. So give us about 30 minutes, and when we'll all realise that we've hotboxed ourselves, Ash will open that window, and that dog down the road will kick off. So that's happening. Right then, I've not got the. I've done all these fancy graphics, but not got the lineup ready, folks. So Stevie, you're gonna have to tread some water for me. But in the starting 11, we had Jamal Lowe up front. Svante Ingelsson in the middle of the park. We had Valerie and Lowe at full back. I thought all four of those guys were absolutely outstanding. And there was an element of where, we spoke a lot on this show about everything going through Barry Bannon and Josh Windass being a threat and being our two best players. But I don't want to give them a disrespect, because that would be rude of me to say that they're the bare minimum. But what I mean is they're not on their own now pulling strings. We've got some quality in some positions, right?
It's like the Avengers, isn't it? We've pulled in another one from here and another one from there, and we're about 15 films into the series with the players that we brought in based on that performance yesterday. And I want to preface everything that we're probably going to talk about tonight by saying, look, we are realists on this podcast. Not one of us genuinely believes that we're going to win the league. We're not going to piss it. We're not going to win it.
You don't with them tweets.
I got it. I just need to cross some notes out, Stevie. Just bear with me.
It's been bookmarked. But we were all optimistic coming in. Knowing the manager that we had, the coach, the setup, the background, sort of the backroom staff that he'd assembled over a period of sort of 8-9 months, and we were waiting for yesterday based on how we finished the season and knowing that he was going to get a full pre-season under his belt. And I think looking at the way that we played yesterday as a sort of an overview, I think the best thing that I can say is that we are going to wax lyrical about Ingelsson tonight, and I think he's going to get better. And I think there were flashes in the first sort of 10-15 minutes where we do respect there was a misplaced pass or something that was miscontrolled, or he tried something that didn't necessarily come off. But as he grew into the game, he just became immense. He got better and better and better, and we'll talk about him. But all the other players were exactly the same, and I think if we give it sort of 3 or 4 weeks, we're really gonna start cooking. I think it was really good yesterday. I think we were excellent, and it's really exciting. If that's our starting point, that's the marker we've laid down. I'm looking forward to it.
I can't think of a time when all of our new signings have all performed so well on their debuts as well, because you always have that where there's always one that maybe just underperforms or usually gets injured and you don't actually see him for 6 months and you forget you've even signed him. And I think that was just what was so impressive is all of them just absolutely shone. And I think that's a really good sign that we've got players that are able to come into the team and obviously get into Danny's system really well. He's obviously able to kind of shape and mold those players into how he wants to play. And they were all really stood out. It was, and it's just great to see Banner not having to run the whole show on his own. It makes such a
really
difference.
is. I bet he came off going, you know what? I really enjoyed myself there.
I'm only half as sweaty as I normally am.
Yeah, his back weren't giving him as much shit carrying everybody else. But genuinely, I had so much fun on Sunday, and as much as we were maligning a Sunday afternoon kickoff, for me to drive up to London and drive back and be in bed by 10 p.m, that's all right by me. Sunday afternoon at 4, I'm all right with. I'll quite happily circumvent a Sunday dinner. You know what I mean? In favour of a 4-0 win every week. Ashley, what are the people saying? And by all means, add something of your own.
Oh well, thank you, Daniel. No, I'll just read out the comments. I'll just be the good-looking one in the corner that just reads all the things. All right, mate. Deep Focus Prod has put typical Man United obsessed media. We didn't win. It was Wayne Rooney's Plymouth that lost.
Yep.
And I was going to touch on that. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that I get why he's unbelievable player for England. Had a really good career as a player. Now as a manager, he is falling on his arse. And for how bad Plymouth were, we were great. We were really good. And it's all right, people saying that, yeah, but Plymouth are shite and that. But Forest Green was shite in League One. We were top of the league and we lost.
Exactly.
So, you know what I mean? So you've got to play and you've got to perform as well as you can. And you're playing any 11 in front of you. You don't know who's going to turn up. And from first minute, I think they had the ball, I don't know, for about 2 minutes in first half hour, if that. And the pressure that we just put on them, it's fantastic. And the starting lineup, no complaints at that. Great to see Bernard back there, isn't it? Oh,
Big dish.
Yeah, I'm gonna and Ingleson. Well, what can I say? I mean, Georgie boy is my boy. You know, I am Georgie boy. But if you've got a player that's Will Volks and George Byers rolled into one, who's got the throwing of Will Volks, and he's got the tackling and the play of Byers.
And let's not
I'm
forget,
in love, I think.
sculpted from absolute marble as well. Have you seen the man? It's going to be like Callum Patterson last week. It's not good for my self-esteem to have a photo next to that geezer. You know what I mean? It was absolutely insane. Now, Ash, there's a comment there from Holly because I went to see her and Blair at half time. And Alfreton Ingleson was absolutely brilliant. And Blair said, bloody hell, Michael Smith is all over. And that as a comment, if you just try and visualize it, just really made me laugh just watching Michael Smith just dominating the midfield. Just absolutely beautiful. Now, Stevie, let's get into it. Sheffield Wednesday started. What was that? Sorry, I've missed a comment there from Mad Ward. What a beast he was. To be fair, all the new guys looked immense and most definitely elevated the team. Yes, they did. And we'll get right into that. So, Stevie, the first 10 minutes, we absolutely went at them. And I thought we were going to have like 2 or 3 by about 15 minutes in. By 8 minutes, I remember looking at the scoreboard going, well, we're going to win this 10-0. You know what I mean? But then there was a period of about 20 minutes. And then as soon as we scored just after the half an hour mark, there was only one team winning that, right? I mean, get right into it. Get right into the football.
Yeah, starting lineup as has been discussed, no arguments whatsoever. It almost picks itself based on what we've seen and the pre-season and the signings that have come in. I was particularly taken with Max Lowe in the early stages and the way that he sort of settled in and the way that the North standard actually taken to him, and he's got his Max Lowe as a Wednesday eye chant going straight away, which is obviously
as well.
Yeah, pearl clutching, me. Yeah, but as has been covered, the lads that have come in have all hit the ground running, and the tempo that we played with, and there've been a lot of noises around who or how we've been sort of setting up pre-season, what we've been doing, what we've been working on, the meticulous nature of Danny Rule and the coaching staff, and it was just really exciting to get to Sunday after so long, and his profile had obviously been quite high after his stint on ITV in the Euros. So to get to the point where it's like, right, the talking's done now. The reality is we thought we were going to win on Sunday before we'd set up, and anybody that didn't think we'd get 3 points based on what we'd seen and how we'd finished last season was probably being a little bit conservative. But we hit the ground running, and when I say we hit the ground running, it was literal, wasn't it? It was there were levels, and it was the fittest that I've seen a Sheffield Wednesday team look. And if you go back a year to where we were under Chisco, and we were blowing out of our arses to sit on the halfway line against Southampton on that first game on the Friday night, versus us now chasing things down. The tempo was high. We were pressing from the front. We were boxing players into the corners and trying to get them to play down the line. Taking those sort of those risky sort of play outs from the back. It just looked great. The first 10 minutes of tempo was high, as I've said. We had opportunities to threaten their final third. We won a fair few corners early on. We had a fair few shots. We'll get onto Masaba and the fact that he could have had a cricket scoring, himself. But no, that's that opening phase of play, we had them on the ropes from minute one, and it was really refreshing to see. And I think if we'd have scored a goal in that first 10, 15 minutes, it genuinely could have been 5, 6, 7-0 yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I
there's been a
firmly
couple of
believe
comments there that Ash has been putting up about, men versus boys. I can't remember the last time we absolutely dominated a team like that, Chaz. Did you go full Scrappy Doo?
Oh, absolutely. And it's so tricky in it because it being Plymouth, there's an element of it don't matter what pre-season says sometimes, there's still a bit of you that's kind of had your brain on pause and then it picks straight back up. And you can easily say us and Plymouth were in the same boat at the end of last season. But actually, we were clawing up and they were falling down. And the result was sort of the same in the end, but it wasn't really the same journey. And without being too unnecessary, kicking them when they're down, it just goes to show that we're showing that trajectory that we would have been on had we not been gasping for survival, and they just seem to still be falling. It was so clinical. We have all seen the Wednesday that are the better team and still lose. 1,000,000% we've played crap teams and still come away with a really frustrating, do everything but score. And I must admit, there was, for the first half an hour, I kept thinking, well, hang on a minute. It don't mean anything, this fabulous football, if at the end of the day it ends up being 0-0. They just managed to hold us off to 700 corners and then nothing happens. And, I think, I don't remember the first shot we had, but I do remember Ingleson having one about 11 minutes in, and it was just and it just, Masabra got his banana shoes on, so we're all just a bit it's just not we need Ugbo. We still haven't got Ugbo. And then obviously that first goal going in, it was you just settled into it that little bit. And you just could not see where Plymouth's goals were going to come from. Their keeper looked mortified where I was sat on the south. Excuse me. Thank you very much. In first half,
did you have the loaded chips? Did you have the loaded chips?
I did not have the loaded. I'm not made of money. Oh my goodness. I didn't want them to see me eat them and they'd know I was scum and they'd kick me out and be like, you don't belong here. And we were on Leppin's Lane side, you know what I mean? And oh my God, keeper were it was like his first day playing football. He was absolutely shitting a brick. He's their second choice keeper. By all accounts, it sounds like Cooper might be going to United, I think. It seems to be the story. But then to be well, I'll show you who's going somewhere. You can sit on our bench is very odd. But there was little bits of when he was passing it out to his players, they were a bit don't give it me. And it was just all very odd. They had a couple of their players, their number 7 looked a bit dicey at times. But overall, it was unbelievable. But yeah, it's exactly like Ash was saying earlier. It's not about their loss, it's about our win. We have played tight teams and not performed and not took advantage of that and been clumsy with it. So you don't get, all right, not 3 out of our 4 goals were our responsibility, but even so, you don't get free past any team unless you've dominated. So yeah, I think it was just so much fun to watch. The time just flew by. It was excellent. It was very good.
And you had time for a beer as well, given the way you were messaging the group chat later on as well, Chaz. So you did all right. Now, Ash, there's a comment there from Sharman at the top of the list about the intensity, and I think it echoes what Charlie was saying there. It wasn't about Plymouth being shy. It we played with desire, intensity, passion. We had direction. It was an absolute joy to behold. But Ash, let's get to the first goal, mate, because the build-up to the first goal has been a very contentious issue since October, since Danny's come in. And guess what we did? And guess what happened?
Get it forward! Get it forward! What can you say? Started right from the beginning. Beadle, straight out, and it looked. And it's not, obviously, but it looks so easy. And I think this is where people are going, Plymouth were shite. No, that movement, that pace, that pass, the run from Ingleson, the control, Bannon played the ball in, Ingleson, my man. And then, obviously, you've got to have people in the box, and Masaba was there, as well as Lowe, to touch it in. And I'll tell you what, from front to back, I'd love to have got a stopwatch. If someone had done stopwatch and gone, how quick that was to go from one phase to the next, and obviously the last phase in goal. And I think Jamal Lowe, I think now he's got that first goal on his debut. They do say, don't they, if you're a striker and you get your first goal, you're already there, aren't you? You're in your head. You're walking onto the pitch next game. You broke your duck, got rid of that goose egg, as John says, and it was fantastic. Really impressed with him as well. Just Peter Cousins has said something here, and I saw this. Someone, I don't know who it was. One of the impressive stats is that we had almost as many shots in 90 minutes as we did in first 6 home games of last season, and more on target. The EFL should just announce us as champions. Pete, we'd love that, but we're realists on this podcast. Yeah.
I tell you what, Pete, I read that in your Cockney accent as well. What about the impressive stats? Because that absolutely makes me laugh. Now, as we've got to half time now. We were up, and as Ash says, Jamal Lowe was an absolute joy to behold. His tail was up, he was chasing everything down, and to skip forward like about an hour, I skipped out, got in the car, and put on Low by T-Pain. And Johnny got damn apple bottom jeans, and I'm driving along. And the next song was J-Lo and Pitbull, because obviously Spotify's put them the two together, and I'm just sat there going, J-Lo! Dally in the car all the way back. So that's they're my new favourite songs.
It weren't Pussycat Dolls, though, was it?
It was not the Pussycat Dolls. Ash is gonna have to you're gonna have to get the lyrics ready, Ash, because I'll see if I can do it to the music, but I don't know.
I want Ash to sing it.
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of want Ash to sing it.
I had a few minutes at work today, so I thought I'll spam the group chat. So I put in a song for J-Lo, as in Jai-Ho from the Pussycat Dolls, but obviously J-Lo, it didn't go down very well. So,
it went down really well. It went down really well.
In my head all day.
Not even better. They are earworm.
Yeah, earworm. It's better than Bill Oddie, rugby beard all over my body, which is what I've been singing for an entire week. Bill Oddie. Honestly, you just get something stupid stuck in your head. It's been there a week now. I can't get rid of it. Bill Oddie, rugby beard all over my body.
We've had a comment from David. It was noticeable how no Wednesday player looked rushed on the ball, but nor did they hold on to it too long either. Space easily found due to plenty of movement, oozed confidence and belief. Mate, absolutely. What a
we
comment.
were a joy to behold. Absolutely. Now, listen, let's get into the second half. Now, at no point, even though we went into the second half 1-0 up, Stevie, I wasn't even slightly concerned. I think there's a few times, is it Sissoko who was playing down there, left-hand side, who kept getting the ball, doing a lot of little flicks and little jinks and getting ultimately absolutely nowhere and created nothing. I've played with players like that at Sunday League, and I'm like, pal, just cross the fucking ball. For love almighty on toast, just cross it in. Because he killed all the momentum that they'd have. Stand on the edge of 18, nothing. And then Bernardo just absolutely rose-ed him.
It feels like we've watched players like that in blue and white stripes for about 15, 20 years, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? I know exactly what you're saying, because the way that we've set up and these sort of outlet players and these people that are going to be, the talisman or the pivots or the people that are going to progress the possession from safe possession in the middle of the park into attacking possession in the final third. It was very much that. And they seem to have, without talking about them too much, they seem to have no plan B. There was no identity within the way that they played. There was no strategy around how they were going to be able to break us down. And I think that's more about how we'd set up and the mentality of our boys, and the way that Danny Rule had got us ready to play yesterday. I didn't feel that they had any sort of possession that was going to be, it was going to give us any sort of any headaches, any concerns, any issues. I felt like we dealt with everything, and Ingleson will get all the plaudits. And I was thinking about this in the second half. Ingleson will get all the plaudits. I actually, at full time, my initial gut instinct was to sort of go, Valerie's been the best player on the pitch here.
Yeah.
But for
And
the
they gave him on
reasons
TV as well, didn't
they did, but for the reasons that we, everybody's been talking about on socials, for the actual, the 90 minutes of beast mode, if you want to call it that. Ingleson, I've got no arguments with Ingleson getting it in terms of the socials that we've been looking at, the plaudits he's had. But I thought Valerie was outstanding. I thought Lowe, we're talking about the new lads again. Lowe was very good on the other side, and they offered a different kind of balance to what we've had with Valentin and Johnson, or Palmer and Johnson, or even Iorfa and Palmer. But in the second half, I was sitting there and I was thinking, the composure that our two centre halves have had yesterday, even though they've not had a great deal to do, the reason that Plymouth have had so few touches, the reason that they've had so few threats, is that we've set up so well as a back four. There was never a feeling that Iorfa was going to be in trouble. There was never a feeling. Bernard was outstanding yesterday and barely had a thing. He barely broke sweat. And there was one play coming down in the second half. The ball it's been played forward, and Valerie's just given it a little shoulder, and he's hooked his right foot around the ball and just come out the other way. And I've gone, okay,
that was
we've leveled up.
So
here.
quality, it was absolutely beautiful to watch. I know that I very rarely applaud a tackle because I like a shithousing, I like an elbow to the nose, things like that. But that tackle was beautiful, and he came out with the ball, and good lord! Now let's get to the. Go on,
sorry,
Ash.
Dan. Can I just say that I know you guys voted for Ingleson man of match, but for Sky to give it Valerie, and for a wing back, right back, left back, whatever, to get the man of the match in a 4-0 win as well.
Huge.
That does say quite a lot, especially for his first home game. Obviously, he's a Premier League player. We know that, so he's used to the crowd and everything. But I thought really, I saw it initially and I was like, they don't know football, what they're talking about. But after thinking about it and rewatching the highlights today and just looking back to how well he played, I was like, yeah, fair play. Absolute fair play.
It really was. Let's get to the. I agree with you, Ash, as well. Like, because there were three players in for shout for man of the match: Valerie, Svanti, and the one that harried down Charlie for that. He looked at danger every time he went into the 18-yard box, didn't he? And the fact, that cross across for that defender. There's a
the assist, as I'm thinking about.
Beauty of a photo where it's smashing the defender, and I felt so sorry for the geezer because there was sod all he could do about it. He gave it to him with that much beans.
That was it. He literally he used him as a cushion to knock it off, because from where we were, it looked like he'd possibly tried to head it out and made a bit of an error, or just was running around. But I've watched it back and it's like he's just stood there like doy, and it bonks off his head and goes in, which is absolutely devastating.
There's even a second where he goes, what? You didn't know what day it was.
It's the accuracy of Lowe's header as well. It's not just like we missed it, but it happened to glance in. It's like he's like, what's that film where they bend the bullets? It was like that. It was like,
Angelina Jolie and James McAvoy just pinging around.
It was amazing, and it absolutely, because the second goal was always going to knock the piss out of the sails, but for it to be an own goal, really just shooting yourself in the foot, is just like, and it was so good for us because it reminded me of the Blackburn game actually, where another fantastic own goal, but just that kind of oh, thank God. You just know that they're not, because it's not that I ever thought that Plymouth were going to get back in it necessarily, but I really just wanted us to have a clean sheet as well. It's one of those games where you're like, no, we deserve all of it. We deserve everything. We deserve to tick every box. Yeah. And you know how easy it is when you're a bit tired and you've played that high intensity football and it's like the 80th minute and you just let your guard down a bit and they just scab a bit of a jammy goal, or they get a free kick on edge of box.
It's happened a few times. We've seen it a million times, and everything was aligning. Like that comment there from Holly saying those kind of horrid deflections never drop in our favor. The planets are aligning, boys, is what she's gone with. That's what she said. And Slappy's gone with, yes, Holly. Right then, third goal, Ash. It's like Josh Windass has gone, these new lads are showing me up here. I'm not having this. Because bear in mind as well, and I know we've not brought them up much, but Masaba and the gas man were a threat every time they picked the ball up. If Masaba had put his shoes on the right feet, that'd have been 6-0 piece of piss, right? Gassama, everything we spoke about last week about him keeping it one touch too many, he seemed to have shelved that.
Yeah,
and
very
then
much so.
And then the third goal where Josh came in and went, I'm having a bit of this party, didn't he, Ash?
He did, and I thought he had a good game without being, all over the place. We've singled out all the new signings, and obviously been here a few years now, signed a new contract. He's obviously looking at where he fits in this team, and I think he needs to score for himself. He is he is a selfish player. He's got the confidence, and he wants that goal. Confidence play, yeah. So I think, and he was there, and he took it well. I think it'll do him a world of good, and I think, getting on the score sheet in a 4-0, all right, I'll say it, thrashing, will do his confidence a world of good. I think he needs that. I thought he did well. His corners, I've got to say, his corners were a lot better than Bannon's, but a couple of them were still a bit deep.
I think
I don't think that's.
There was one that we played to the near post and it didn't work, and then every other one we went, we're smashing this. And then I don't know if you remember. Do you remember they tried to pump a crossing? The ball broke from. They tried to pump a crossing, and I swear to God, it went into that bit where we've taken the seats out of, where we put the Wickham fans in 2012. Like, I've never seen out like it from a professional footballing man. But yeah, took it really well. Now I'm going to bounce the other way. Go on, Steve.
I was just going to say, Windass looked really happy yesterday, didn't he? And I know
his celebration was so good.
It's a thing to, you talk about it, but people will make a deal of his body language. They'll make a deal of his, I'm not going to celebrate in League One, I know we're in the Championship. Everything that he's a walking soundbite for contradicting himself on what a professional footballer should be at times. But I actually think he looked. It sounds cheesy to say he looked like he was at home. He looked like he was happy. He looked content. And I think if that's how he's going to manifest himself on a football pitch this season when he's starting games, then more power to him and more power, because it bodes well for us. I think the interesting thing is, if you look at it, we've got Ugbo to come back in, which means that you've got Windass, Masaba, Gassama, Ugbo. You've got McNeil waiting in the wings. You've got Jamal Lowe. That's a lot of players without.
There's a lot.
Yeah, and he looked steady when he came on as well.
You were all right.
Kept up. I mean, that was a hell of a game to walk into, wasn't it? And he's gone, no, I'm going to hold my own here, lads. Watch this.
And he did. But the thing is, is it going to be that thing now where Rule is saying you've earned your shirt now, and you're the keepers of the shirt, so now you've got to keep it. And if that's the mentality that he's going to have,
got some work to do to break.
Ugbo's got some work to do. Jamal Lowe, traditionally is sort of left of a three, isn't he? That will cut inside and play from there. So he's not used to leading the line. So he's scored on his debut, leading the line, effectively playing out of position. Is he going to go somewhere else? I thought the two wide players, I thought Gassama was probably better, and I've seen the stat today that Gassama had more key touches or more key passes in the game yesterday than anybody else. And he's kind of flown under the radar a little bit, but I thought he was very good yesterday as well for what he did. So yeah, it bodes really, really well. And I was worried that we'd not have enough sort of content to talk about, because there'd be nothing controversial tonight. But we've gone 35 minutes and we're only at 3-0. Yeah,
I'm trying to move it along here.
Sorry, I'll shut up now. Charlie, 26 to go.
I'm going to come to you. I'm going to come to you about the Michael Smith goal before I bounce back to Stevie here. Because I Michael Smith getting one on the back post always seems to remind me of you after you licked him when he came to celebrate with you.
Just a little lick.
Michael Smith, not me, by the way.
Smith's gone, I just licked Stevie.
You know what? We had a comment there. I'm happy for him that he managed to bike in case he does move on. But he placed a claim that there's a job for him at Sheffield Wednesday, didn't he?
Absolutely, and I think it's exactly what we've just said about Lowe on his debut, and exactly what we just said about Windass as like someone that you got to get that early goal in. There's something to be said for Smith with that, because I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure that until he got that header to equalise in that game, he'd not scored last season up until that point. He might have scored in a cup game, but it felt like one of those things like and the longer you don't score for, the worse it is.
Mm-hmm.
So for him to come out first game of the season as a sub and get that 4th goal, it's like, yeah, all right, it's not the winning goal or anything like that, but it was like, oh my God, like even, you know, even someone who might be half out the door with his bags packed, like he's banging them in. And if we keep him, if he doesn't end up going, I think he will, but if he doesn't, you start thinking, well, yeah, because it's nice to have those options on the bench. One thing that we have struggled with so much, and it's usually an injury issue, is that squad depth. That is where other squads, that is where the likes of Ipswich last season, they got loads to play with. All right, they've lost someone, they've got someone else to replace it. We were dying for Ugbo before we knew we needed him. Windass being out for as long as he was. Whereas now you're looking at it and you're going, isn't it a nice problem to have, where you're thinking, where does such and such fit in? Where's this going to go? And I think that is going to be so key for the season. I totally agree about the Masaba thing as well. I think I really felt for him in the end. He couldn't buy a goal. Like, it was unbelievable. But what he was doing well was so good. And I think for Smith as well, like that confidence, he battled for that goal. Like, he got it saved, but then still kind of cut in, and it's, you know, it still shows that he's got a bit of something there. And yeah, I would be quite happy to see him named on the bench. Like, I would. I've got.
There's no room, Charlie. There's no room. We
can get a bigger bench. We'll get a bigger bench.
It needs to be a big one.
I love them all. I don't want to see any of them go.
Before I move on, is there anything you'd like to add on what are the people in the interweb nets saying?
I wasn't looking. I was doing something else, right? Really, but
Ash was catching up his correspondence and getting his gas bill paid or something.
Yeah. Good old smudger. I don't agree with Charlie. I think it's time for him to move on. I think he's not the. I know he scored, but he scored in a 4-0 thrashing. So
and he nearly made a beans on toast of it. And
well,
all,
keeper saved it his first effort. Yeah. So I think it's time for him to move on. I think he'll be great in League One. I think he's proved, and even though it was a couple of years ago, that he can score in that league. And if he does go to Wrexham, they're going to be creating more goals than more chances than anybody. So I wouldn't put it past him to score.
He would be a phenomenal signing for something like Wrexham. I don't know where Wrexham's come from and why they have so many Sheffield Wednesday connections that they started to amass, but he'd be a wonderful signing for him. He really would. And Stevie prepared us a graphic, didn't he? We got some infographics. Now, if you look at that, nearly 60% of the possession, which is insane. 31 shots to their 5, 11 shots to their 1. 9 off target to their 4. That I think 12 of them are Masaba, and 11 block shots. And then we've got secondary graphics here. Goalkeeper saves 7-1 to them. Aerial duels 14-5. Fouls 15-14. So you know we were fouling each other quite well. And corners 15-1. That is a sound beating. That is a genuine beating. Now I will concede that Plymouth needed a bit more of a game plan and they needed to have something a bit more. And I don't know what Wayne Rooney's style is because I didn't see much of it anywhere else he's worked, if I'm honest. I don't know what his philosophy is, to coin that phrase. But they're going to need to change something really quick. And I think a lot of it is attitude. You know what I mean? I feel like they need to work on their attitude and their mental strength, because as soon as they went 1-0 down, there was only one team winning that. On the other hand, the intensity, passion and desire that Sheffield Wednesday played with and the new signings fitting in and on the back of a very good, grueling pre-season, that paid off. There is a lot more value in playing the teams that we played in the pre-season rather than playing York and fucking Chesterfield or somebody. You know what I mean? So 4-0 winners. Sheffield Wednesday are now top of the league. Now, it can't all be great. It can't all be fantastic. It can't all be amazing because we still have Dave Ponchansiri as our chairman. So we've had another fish in petrol moment. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to make a graphic for that. Dave Ponchansiri, man as a fish in petrol. And there was a press release from the club. Now this has been a hot topic because Kieran Maguire of the Price of Football fame, the guy who's made himself a career back on Ash asking him to be on this show in 2018 and nothing else.
Yeah, of course.
And that's what it is. He actually has been on the show. And I think I did a Sunday night program with Mark Saggers or something, didn't I? And he, boom, name drop.
Drop that name.
and they and he released the press release saying, and I'm going to read it verbatim for you, kids. I don't want to paraphrase. It says, "We respectfully remind supporters that as well as being inferior in terms of quality and potentially unsafe due to materials used, counterfeit shirts in their sales impact directly on club revenues. Official SWFC merchandise can be purchased from only the Owl Shop." Owl Shop, showing me age, lads. From only the Owls mega store or online store. Brand protection teams work together with the relevant authorities to remove counterfeit selling websites and will continue to do so. Offline, all parties concerned will remain diligent in making every effort to close down the illegal trade of counterfeit goods. To that end, requests for lettering and or numbering on any counterfeit shirts to the megastore will be declined. Now, this was the phrase that everybody went mental at. Although we cannot prevent supporters from wearing counterfeit shirts away from Hillsborough, we do respectfully request that such products are not displayed inside the stadium. Anyone found to be wearing a fake shirt inside Hillsborough could be asked to leave with information passed on to the relevant parties. Thank you for your cooperation. So, the way that everybody read that on the internet was very much, if you've got a hooky shirt, you're going to get kicked out. Now, personally speaking, I feel that this is absolute insanity because bear in mind, for as long as I've ever been a kid, there's a geezer outside selling hats, badges, scarves. You know what I mean? But we all know specifically that they mean the hooky shirts from websites such as DHgate, for example. Now, this is completely unpoliceable, right? This is absolutely unpoliceable. I don't know what people think is going to happen. Where's about that shirt? China. Oh, you've got to leave. Shut up. Charlie, can you see this happening?
I'm not a lawyer, and I would like that on record. I
need to make a note of that.
Write that down.
That's my one phone call gone.
I am 90% sure that you cannot eject someone on the grounds of where would it end? Like little kids with those crazy frog stitched £5 scarves.
Yeah. You've got one of them Skegness Minecraft shirts. Get out.
And pass on to the relevant authorities. Who's the relevant authorities?
The Chinese government.
Police. Who's gonna? It's not a crime to buy a shirt online from a different place. It's absolutely chaotic, and
now
I do think it's because I think the way it's worded is very deliberate. It's like it may be a problem. We can't stop you doing it, but it may be a problem because if they were like, "You'll be barred," it's like, well, it's not a crime. What are you barring me on? It's not an offense to buy a shirt, and also. If you think obviously is relating to like the knockoff trying to look like the real shirt, but actually the way it's worded applies to basically everything that's not like an official shirt. So like, I don't know, Father's Day Etsy page. My dad is the best Wednesday. You go to jail for your disgusting top. How poor do we have to be before he's happy? How much blood from this stone does he have to get? Like, it's just
how poor do we have to be before
crazy.
He's happy? Is it? Hang on, what minute was that? I'm making a note of that.
Yeah, those 6 people that bought off the Wednesday week tat shop. They best look out. Best not put their
down.
Best not put their gear on.
Yeah.
Now, I get it. I think it's I think a fair few clubs have put the same sort of statement out.
Yes, it started in the summer during the Euros with everybody buying hooky England shirts.
Yeah, so I think that, and obviously, like you said, Kieran Maguire, who's very active on X and all that, has picked it up, and that's the one that's got the highlight. But I'm sure there's lots of clubs that have released it. I get that they want to protect it. Every club will want to protect their brand. They want their people going in and paying $69.99 for a shirt. But come on, it is not physically possible for people to pay $69.99 for a shirt, or even 57 quid, I think is for kids, which is absolutely mind-boggling. So why? For all the things, and look, I might get into it later, for all the things that they could concentrate on at the club, there is a hell of a lot more things going wrong at the club. Not on the pitch. We're all bouncing about that. We're loving it. It's good. But off the pitch, for them to pick on people that want to buy that. Look, if you've got 3 kids, I mean, good luck to you anyway. But you got three. That's 160 quid on shirts. But it's not. It's probably, I don't know, 25 quid from China. And the kids are going to spill ice cream down it. They're going to go out playing football in it and whatever. It's.
I tell you what, that's the voice of experience there, boys and girls. Because I went on holiday with Ash and his young kid, who was only about 8 at the time, and we went to go and watch Chamois Norte, and we all bought the shirt. We all had a good day out, and the morning after, his young boy was brushing his teeth and got toothpaste all down it. So Ash feels your pain there, and yes, I believe that 69 quid is too expensive. Yeah. It is 6 one after the other. Half a dozen of the other. No one's going to kick you out. 69 quid is expensive. However, if you've got a hooky shirt, the brass bollocks on people to take it into the club shop to get a name and number on the back of it.
That's hilarious. That's very funny.
I love the idea of somebody last year going, hey, this is my last season's shirt. Can you put Serrata over the top of this flat cap on the front, please? Like, for free? Like, no, we can't. Like, what's the matter with you?
But if they don't enforce it, I know they can't, but if they don't, what is the point in the statements? People are going to look at the next statement or next thing and go, what's the point? They're not going to enforce it.
It's just a deterrent.
But then,
I genuinely think it has deterred as well. I do. And I'll say this. I got my Parma tickets late, so I ended up on the North last Saturday. And you could see it. The one thing I'd say about the away shirt, there were rumblings last year, the grey, white effort, whatever colour it was. There was a slight discoloration in the away shirt last year. The difference in tone in the orange this year is night and day. You can spot a DHgate shirt a mile off. So anybody that's rocking up going, "Ooh, I'm just going to blend in," is a million miles off. They're miles off it. The shirt that Charlie's wearing up there tonight is the authentic Sheffield Wednesday shirt, and it looks authentic.
So she says.
So I say,
mate, you can tell the difference. I think the people that are rocking into the club shop and saying, right, let's have a name and number on it are absolute heathens. By the way, I think that's an absolute joke.
That is,
but
that's why there's been a statement.
Yeah. But the point I was getting to was you could spot them a mile off on Saturday, like the Saturday gone, and I was intentionally looking around. We only dropped into the fan zone because I'd gone down somewhere else before the game. But when I was on the concourse, you couldn't see as many. Is the point I'm getting to, and I do honestly think that there were a couple of people or a number of people that will have gone, "Oh shit, we're going to get kicked out if we wear that hooky shirt, so I'm not going to wear it." I genuinely believe that that's what's happened. But we're right. You can't police it. How can you?
And who's policing it as well? Like, who is it? The person that sits there when you're beeping your season ticket in, staring off with
going,
like flies crawling over
you
their
bought that
eyeballs?
off my cousin. I'm not having you in here.
There's nobody. Stewards don't even notice. People throw bottles, and it's just like they gently tip over because they made a cardboard. Are they going to go around looking at back of everybody's shit? Like, it's just who's enforcing this?
I tell you what, they're going to get, Chaz.
Himself.
They're going to get one of those cardboard cutouts that you get in petrol stations in dodgy areas. You know, the copper just stood there. Hey, I'm looking at you.
I'm watching.
I'm looking at you. Right then, so let's crack on. So Ike Ugbo has been made a permanent Sheffield Wednesday. That's a great comment, by the way. Sharman's gone in with it's the fashion police who are keeping an eye out for it. Of course it is. When you've got knowledge like Stevie who could spot them a mile off, then they're all going to be judging you. And you know what the fashionistas can be like. The Ike Ugbo is now a permanent Sheffield Wednesday player. I think we spoke about that quite significantly, didn't we, Ashley? Is there anything you would like to add?
No, I think it's a great signing. Obviously, this is before the 4-0 thrashing. I'll say it again.
It gives us a good amount of depth, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It was a great sign. I think we all called for it. Ben called for it again, working his magic.
Ben, Lord's work.
There we are. He's here. Look, do I have to free Ugbo from the French FA?
No. I tell you what. I like a Chinese football shirt, Ben. So free fudge when I inevitably get chucked in Sheffield Wednesday jail, outside the club shop, locked up to that pink bench. I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. I need a free fudge hashtag. Getting ready, pal.
I really, really do not want to search Twitter for a hashtag free fudge.
Hey, if Katie Price is out to do with it, I think I've already seen the outcome.
Shit.
Topical.
That was good. That was good. I managed to silence everybody with that.
Jesus Christ, Daniel. No, thank you. Yeah, no, I think we all. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I've just lost it then. No, I think we all wanted the striker Ugbo come in, obviously, last season, and probably about 2.5 to 3 million. And like I said, the reason he didn't play on Sunday was his paperwork from the French FA. So looking forward to playing.
He wouldn't have played anyway, would he? Given time scale and everything else, but no.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's good. It's good to get him in. I think I'm excited to see, you know, the noises that he's made around coming and playing for Rule, and he feels like he's found a home. And you know, now that we've got the players around him, I think a lot of the noises, TW Football might have made a comment around he's going to be the link player or the player that people that we've brought in. It's going to be a point where he's going to score more goals based on the fact that we've got a revised squad in and around that position that he's playing. So I think that's really exciting to see. And worst case scenario, if he just comes and is a battering ram and a pivot where we've got 4 or 5 other players that are getting 5-6 goals each, then so be it. I'm excited. I think he offers something different to Lowe. He offers something different to McNeil, Cadamartri. He's a level up on Smith. I've seen enough to know that, you know, I'm happy that we paid the money that we paid for him. He's a saleable asset.
It's not a bank breaker. It's a decent amount of money. It's not a bank breaker.
No.
4 million I'd have winced. 3, I'm all right.
This is the thing, isn't it? What, you know, all of these players that we're talking about, Ingleson, Bernard, Gassama, Masaba, McNeil, Cadamartri, Ugbo, these are all people that we could then potentially look at selling on in, and that's likely to be the model under what we're operating with at the moment. Is that it may be that in 3-4 years' time these players move on for 10, 12, 15 million pound each. So be it. If that's what it is now, we've got to disassociate the emotion from it and say, you know, Ugbo's going to be a player for the next 7, 8, 9 years. He's not. You know, Gassama and Masaba are better players for us if they burn brightly over 2-3 seasons and get us up a level, and then we can sell them on a significant profit, and so be it. I anticipate Bernard is going to go for decent money. So be it. So
I think Danny Roll's going to break our heart before any of them.
100%. I just want to get to the end of the season, and when you talk about optimism, if he can get us in and around the playoffs before somebody else comes and nicks him, I said this on socials earlier today or yesterday, Danny Rule will be managing in the Champions League before he's 40. That will happen, 100%. So we're running out of time.
Myself, I'm now -4 on that this year. So,
on Champ Manager.
Nice, yeah. When you have to reduce your age when you put yourself on Champ Manager rather than, you know what I mean.
That's why I've stopped playing.
It's when you scroll down and you have to go to the next bit. You know, you scroll down.
Ash, it's like Wheel of Fortune, like filling out an online form. Bloody awful. It's crap. It's crap. Now,
Charlie, it'll happen to you one day.
Yeah. I'm already worried about aging out the 18 to 30 bracket. I'm still because 18 to 30 is very vague. That's very vague.
When you go up a tick box, Gaz, it's the worst. It's the worst. Right then, so we've got a new sponsor as well. We've got a sponsor on the back of these shirts. My mum, watching on Sunday, thought that we had a player called Mr. Vegas, and then realised that were all their names. Bless her. She went, "Who's Mr. Vegas?" I went, "Oh no." And ironically, she wasn't the dumbest person in and around that block that I was sat in as well, because some of the sites you see when Hillsborough's busy is amazing. But we've got a new sponsor. We've got money coming in, an actual proper sponsor. Does anybody have any strong feelings on it being a betting sponsorship, anything like that?
Yeah, it looks horrible. It's horrible. It's so stupid. It makes all of them look like their name is Mr. Vegas something, Mr. Vegas Palmer, Mr. Vegas Bernard. It looks. Why have they put it at the top? Why have they put it at the top? It looks awful. And I don't like that it's a betting company. I know it's the way that a lot of it's going. I know that it's Sky bet this and bet that, but like, surely more attractive. Like this company's got like 300 followers on Twitter, so it's already dodgy anyway. And there are no betting companies that were just called like a word rather than Mr. somebody or other.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Blobby.
I think the ultimate shithousing would be if we got sponsored by DHgate. That would. I can't tell you how. I'd just laugh. Can you imagine just DHgate just across the front of the shirt? Wouldn't that be hilarious?
I was quite proud of my mock-up DC Gate that I did tweet out. That took me all of 2 minutes. I quite like that one.
Totally worth it. But at the end of the day,
if Miss Chancellor was watching, sorry.
Hey, I'm telling you, it was that bloody Ash. But listen, it's money coming into the club wherever it's from. Sometimes it's a necessary evil, especially in the Sky Bet Championship. Would I have preferred something else? Maybe. I don't have any real strong feelings about it, but I know that there are people out there that do. So, I appreciate if it's a massive issue. I completely get it. Don't get me wrong. It's like Brexit. You only vote for what's personal to you. And that's kind of what voting is, right? And so you go, this is not personal to me. Last year, we had what was supposed to be a mental health charity. I would argue that a betting company with 300 followers is less bent than that mental health charity that was on the back of our shirts yesterday. And that's a phrase I'll go on the internet and tell you. I've just made that more controversial. Let's move on quick. Ash, get me out of this with some any other business.
I've got some. There's been a few comments in here. We've had the first game of the season at home, and we've had the shit show that is the food and drink. Absolute horrendous. For all the positive we've just waxed lyrical about for 40 odd minutes about the on-field stuff, the off-field stuff for me was absolutely shocking. If anyone went to Zombieland, aka the fan zone, you may as well have not bothered. They had the 3 bars. 2 of the bars didn't have no gas, so they weren't serving. So they had one bar on, one queue that was. I got there really early. I think I got there 2 o'clock, just after 2 o'clock, maybe. And the queue was up to the shop, up to the mega store, and it was roasting hot. It was just awful. Get it first time probably ever that one of the first in the ground in the cop. Knocking on door to get in, scanned, got in, spot on. No issues there, didn't we, Dan? It was pretty good.
To pile on what Ash was saying as well, I was the first one in the stadium with my new fancy digital seating. Right, I was job one. She opened the door behind me. I went, oh, boop, popped through. Right, and as I got to the what is it? Is it the chicken and kebab shack? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
We went walking up to that. Me and our mate Jack, and went, I'll have some chicken, please. Oh, we haven't got any ready. It's not going to be ready for another 10 minutes. What?
You got one job.
What were you doing?
Yeah. What do these people, do they not like, we open at 2:30. There may be a rush of people coming in. It's red hot. They want to drink. They want
sat on the phones.
And they didn't even have the chicken ready.
The chicken shack's got no chicken is the most Wednesday thing
Charlie,
ever.
I swear to
We've
God.
got shack.
Yeah.
Shack,
I swear to God, the chicken shack not having any chicken is not a turn up for the books. It's the fact that it now purveys chicken and the chicken wasn't ready.
and you go in, and if anyone is in the cop in that lower section, there's these 2, I wouldn't say bars. They are just little shack things with 2 people in there serving
containers.
And me and Dan, Steve, our mate, we were first ones there, got in there. 3 pints of Wednesday, please. Oh, hang on. So they hadn't even pulled off the pint. It was like gassy as anything. So we stood there, and the queue was about 50 deep now, and we were first ones. And my mate goes, oh, get here. So he starts pouring them like that. And he says, oh, here's one. Here's this. So we got a pint. And it was just absolutely. And in the fridge, there was just no drinks. And half time, that you might as well not even. The thing is, though, you got these 2 people. Sorry, I'm going to rant. Sorry, everyone. You got these 2 people that are working there. Fantastic. They're working there behind. It's not their fault, but there was no stewards, no supervisor, no anybody around. It was fucking embarrassing. Sorry, I swore, Mum. Fucking embarrassing. Really was. And it's 30 odd degrees. You want water? Have you got any water? No, we ain't got any. So there was nowhere for free water, cups of water on that bottom section. Come on. They knew you're going to have 30,000 there. You know it's going to be hot. Just going to have to Costco and get some extra bottles of pop, man.
In I tell you what, I don't think it was
Sorry,
ever an
I'll say
issue
that.
when they just
Go.
sold plastic bottles from fridges at that area of the cop. It's when they brought in draft, all of a sudden it turned it into a shit show.
Well,
And there's always one bloke who's in a round for 6 pints of Guinness, and you're like, half time's gone for a shit. Do you know what I mean? Surge cans are the way forward. Let us surge it ourselves. Just let us do it. We'll do it. You know
it's
what I mean?
the bottoms up thing. So you put a thing on, fills it up front bottom, done. That's it. There's 4 of them. They're doing it one by one, and they're stood there watching it. You don't need to that. Just put it on, do something else, then go back to it. Oh, mate, it's. Oh, sorry.
He's angry about it.
It's the bigger picture is it's a revenue stream, isn't it? And
That's the issue.
you know,
That's exactly it.
we
Frigging pound a shirt if it didn't take half an hour to pour 1 pint, would it?
they've got to find a solution to the issue. The club structurally doesn't necessarily have, and I accept this, it doesn't necessarily have the positions, the locations to suddenly go, right, we're going to put this many more pint pulling points on, this many more ovens in, or whatever it is. But they've got to get more till points in. They've got to get more till points in, which will reduce the queues. They've got to put more staff on. And I know that's going to cost money in the short term, but the amount of money that's going to put behind the bar, because I absolutely guarantee you that Johnny Vegas, who goes in there, right, he gets to 36, 37 minutes and they walk up the north or they walk up the cop, and then Ash is pointing because he does it. I'm going to go before the rush and I'm going to go and get a pint. If they've got a pint by half time, do you know what they're going to do 10 minutes into half time? They're going to buy another
pint.
Do you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, that £6 a pint becomes £12 a pint. And if you've got 1,000 people doing that on one stand, and then you multiply that by 3, all of a sudden you've got a shitload more money coming in, and the money that you're getting in then goes into the coffers, doesn't it? And whatever it is that it's costing to give these kids, and let's be right, they'll not be on much more than minimum wage.
Do you know what, Stevie? Let me just interject here, because I need to say this. I need to stand up for my hospitality brethren.
I'm in your wheelhouse here, aren't I?
Yeah, so in terms of the catering and the club and the catering company, mainly hire temp staff, typically students. They normally get them from agencies, and we've had a comment here from Anthony Beale, and they're thrown in at the deep end. And there are permanent staff there trying to organise things, but there's not enough of them. Now, it's not the poor kids behind the bar. Yep. And do you know what? This isn't me staring down the camera saying to people, stop shouting at them, because as Yorkshire folk go that like a whinge, they're really quite respectful to these people. I must admit, not everybody, but I really felt for those kids behind that bar, because it's like being given a spoon to dig a hole and then coming back 15 minutes later and going, why ain't you dug that bloody hole? Well, stop giving me shit tools. Do you know what I mean? Now, no one is teaching these. There needs to be one permanent member of staff and one agency staff in each bar. That's what there needs to be. There needs to be somebody there who knows how it works. There needs to be somebody there saying, hey, if you just kept putting pints on top of that spike, you won't have to do them to order, because doing them to order, there is genuinely no point in having a bottom fill pint machine. You may as well just have a tap on and just keep pouring pints. They do it at Spurs because, again, it's temporary staff and they don't know anything different because there's nobody there managing them. Yeah. And that's the issue that we've got. But you're absolutely right. The catering's a mess, in it.
The bit in the cop down at the bottom there where these tulip bars are, I'm part of the engagement panel, and we've been on it for 3 years now to sort the food and drink out. And all they come back with is that we're looking into or either SAG is saying they can't do this, they can't do that. They've had all sorts of plans, the club, to try and...
That's got shit all to do with gas and inept stuff.
No. Yeah, I get that. No, I get that. Definitely. That is one thing, but there's a bit of history behind it. But I went down on 38 minutes to get a beer. There was already a queue, and it was near 58 minutes when I got back after having a pint. And it was red hot. There was no water. There was no pop. There was nothing in that. And like you said, it definitely was not. The people who were queuing up for 40 minutes to get a beer at half time weren't having to go at these.
And you know what? I work in that industry, and I went to Silverstone. I did Silverstone the other week, and there's 3 times as many people there. They all got a beer. There weren't a queue. I could sort it out for you, DC. Honestly, give me 2 hours and I'll get it all ready for you. I'm going to get a job. I've gone over now whinging about catering.
Don't matter. It doesn't matter. The people on the panel, loads of contact with the club. We've mentioned it virtually on every meeting about the catering, about the drink, about thing. Pre-pulling pints. Chef Wednesday won't do it. Do you know why they won't do it? Because they don't want people moaning about a flat beer.
That is ridiculous.
That is their excuse. That's what they've come back with and saying.
I swear to God, any other football ground does it. Derby County and Southampton, most notably, even have caps on them and they just pass you one. Yeah. I wouldn't care because I've already had a beer.
It's 30 bastard degrees and you want to drink.
I'd have done one at the bar waiting for it to pour the next one. Get into
Are the club doing any sort of consultation and getting any sort of supporters' voice on this? And I know we're getting into deep stuff an hour and 5 minutes into it, but that really gets to me. That you know.
Are you serious? He's literally just said he's been having a conversation for 3 years. About it.
3 years.
I mean, but are they going? What I'm saying is, are they going to not just an engagement panel? Where are the club getting this? I'm not doing it because from. That's the question I'm asking.
I don't know what who it's coming from.
There'll be somebody on that panel called
the owner
called Harold, who's like 80-year-old going, I'm not paying £6 for a shitty
and that's
pie.
It, isn't it? So what I'm saying is we've got, I don't know, even if it's a cross section of 200 people on the south, 200 people on the north, 200 people on the COP that are season ticket holders. If you've got 10 minutes to fill in this survey online, we'll do you a favour. We'll chuck in a mug from the club shop. Right. We want to get some feedback on what your feelings are around this. And if they've got that, then fine. But what I'm saying is who's decided that we don't want to serve warm beer or flat beer on this day or whatever else? I don't know, because I've not seen anything.
No,
honestly, even if it just had one extra person there, just stood with a tap on and passing pints to the geese to the right and left.
Here you go. I'm standing at the back. Here you go. I'm standing. They did it at Wembley. What game did we go at Wembley?
Yeah.
We went to Wembley. Wembley do it. I took Molly to go and see Arsenal play Tottenham, Women's North London Derby. Here, have a pint. Pints rating. Pint, and the queues were long, but you got through them in sort of 3-4.
All the pubs manage it as well. All the pubs are round. Like we got to the pub and we got really early, and it was still round. But they've got enough staff on, and they just all they're doing is getting bevs ready because that's all people want. So it's you sell alcohol, people want alcohol. You've got alcohol ready. It shouldn't be as complicated as it is, and it just feels like it's another. And it must be embarrassing because presumably it is the same in the away end. Presumably,
I don't think they serve beer in the away end actually a lot of the time. But according to that Plymouth fan, it does smell of piss. So listen, let's move on. Does anybody have any other business before I wrap this up? And you're right, Ash. Look, I know you probably think it's a bit of a weird thing to have a diatribe about, but there was genuinely an issue that the weather was hot. My mum went to get a bottle of pop and came back with a cup of water she'd got from a toilet somewhere, from a cup she'd borrowed from me because they'd run out of pop. And it's not just Yorkshiremen getting an ale, and as soon as we lose this mentality that it's Yorkshire people whinging about their beer, it's genuinely an issue because you've got kids, Stevie, Ash, you know what I mean, and they're a bloody nightmare. They're always hungry at the wrong time. They always want pop. They always want to drink, and then they see somebody else they want a bag of fruit pastels and shit, and they don't stop whinging. And dads nowadays aren't allowed to say no because it'll bring them up in a negative environment. They're a bloody nightmare. Nobody's ever said this thing's improved by the presence of children, but that's a completely different rant that I'll save for another time. Listen, thanks a lot for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. But Ash is just going to add on to more business.
Yeah, because you've done an agenda, and you're not sticking to it. Are you 9 o'clock on a Monday? Are you on a promise?
I've been up since 5 o'clock, Ash. Come on,
I have as well, mate. I have. Put out. This is a Stevie any other business, but obviously I'll say it. We put out social media, a couple of new things for post-match. We are doing our get in touch with a reaction GIF end of the game. So the one-word review last season. So we've gone GIF. Get a GIF in. Everyone likes a GIF or GIF. Is it Dan? You're down with the kids?
It's definitely GIF.
Is it? And then
it's
also we are...
GIF.
It's not. The geezer that said GIF, it's graphic interface. It's GIF for graphic GIF.
And also we're running a TWWO man of the match. So you guys will put a poll out. You guys vote whoever you think was the man of the match. And then at the end of the season, we'll collate all those votes and you will have your Wednesday week player of the season. which is going to be Ingleson anyway, so you might as well stop the count.
It's very rare that you and I agree on our favourite players, Ash, to be fair, because I like a big shit kicker centre-back and you like a head-on-a-swivel midfielder. And we've just gone for the big, beautiful, sexy bastard that's both. Big, sexy.
It's time for Liam Palmer yet.
I tell you what, listen, we need to bring up. I was gonna bring it up tonight, but I felt like I'd leave it to see what the outline is over the next few games. But about Marvin Johnson and Liam Palmer. Now, listen, is that Robbo that went past us in the outside the Cop? I need to tell you this story before I sign off. The time's gone out the window. But Ash and I were having a beer before we went in. And I was absolutely sweating my ass off. I got one of those 90s drill tops on, Puma King ones. I thought this would be fucking great. Forgetting it were going to be 35 degrees. And, I had it on for a good 10 minutes. And a geezer came sashaying past us. And as I was mid-sentence to Ash, a geezer came past and went, "The rumour mill." And just... I very much enjoyed that. And I absolutely guffawed.
Yeah, I did start.
Can we play it? Can we play it before we go?
I don't think I've got it anymore. Let me. I'll dig it out, Ash, while you talk.
Yeah, no. The reason said it. I started a couple of comments that I think today Jay Blogs has put that friend of the show Alex Miller. We're interested in Malik from Brighton. I'm not even going to try that. And
Malik, why?
Leon. Jasmine is all. Anyone seen this Malik from Brighton? Apologies.
Oh God, it's already got Olaf Kabatsky and Miguel Liera vibes, hasn't it? Already, we're already pronounced his name wrong. He didn't even play for us yet.
Dijon.
I think we've said it multiple times on here, and I know Stevie has, that anyone who's linked with the club, you trust in the manager. With that deep into Danny Roll, please don't clip that. Sorry about that. We're well on board that train, aren't we? So I think any player that he's looking at, he's got his scouts looking at, then he's got to be worth a look, because them four that started on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss. So yes, we are in the running, or there is a rumor circulating. The rumor mill. I know I've used the old branding there, but it's all the one I've got. But I wanted to play it. I got excited. But yes, we're in the somebody called ukulele from Brighton. So that's nice, isn't it? Listen, that's it. We're done now, aren't we? We've got last man standing. We've got the EFL. We've done all that. We've talked about Mr. Vegas. Yeah, Coco Jumbo. No, it's not that. It's that was Mr. President. It was heads high, kill him with your nose. That one. That's Mr. Vegas. If you've not heard it, I recommend it. See you later.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday week. Bringing you football analysis.
He came in. I think he scored a goal.
Bringing you banter.
Yeah.
Bringing you responsible life hacks.
Met you wonderful souls at 10 a.m. for some shots.
The Wednesday week. 1, 2, 3, 4 live. Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there, podcasts, etc.
The Wednesday week 24-25 season. Join us.
Put on your